Hello everyone, and happy Tuesday to you. This is Moby the Yarny, and it's Tuesday with Mo, and my channel is about crocheting, of course, and yarn. Sometimes I'll talk about knitting if I have any knitting projects going on, and sometimes I'll do reviews on things. It's been a while since I did one, but I have one for today. But if you're new to my channel, thank you for stopping by, and if you like what you see, you can give me a thumbs up or subscribe. But if you're returning, I thank you for joining me, and I'm Moby the Yarny. But I will get right into what we're going to talk about today. I did show a few projects last week, and I did get a little progress done on those. But I'm going to talk about, I did a hook review because most of the time I only work with, my boy hooks, and that's it, these metal ones. I have a few hero hooks that I'll use once in a while, but these are the only ones that I use all the time. Metal ones, these metal ones. I have a very large collection of them, all shapes and sizes. I think the largest one I have in the boy hooks goes up to a size N, and then the smallest one I have the ones for lace work, and they're tiny, very tiny. But and I think my favorite size hook I use is a J hook for a lot of projects. Lately I've been using H and I for most of the ones I'm doing, but I think because I was taught to use on these is why I always gravitate toward using the metal hooks and the boy hooks. I was just using the hero one for, it wasn't an amigurumi, but it was something similar, and it was doing pretty nice. But it's sometimes I'm not comfortable with other hooks just because you get into a routine with the hooks that you use. So I decided I was going to review some of these. I got these. They are the Lion Brand bamboo hooks. Now this is a J, K, and N in the bamboo. So I just wanted to see how well they would work. I mean, they're not too expensive. I think this set was only like $6, and I picked it up at, I believe it was Michael's where I was. So I did use this in a project. I have been working on a baby blanket where I've been making these squares. This is just a solid granny square, and I did use this J hook for these squares, and I think it worked pretty good. I thought I would be slipping and snagging, but no, it was very smooth. Worked really nice, and it hooks really well. You can see the little tapered edge in here where it catches. So, and I like the point. The point's nice and sharp. You can get through your stitches really nice. So I really enjoyed using this hook, which I didn't think I would because I'm an old stickler for using the same thing all the time. So yeah, I think I'm going to keep using this for projects because I did enjoy it. And the N size one I'm going to try with some of my chunky yarns on another project I'm working on. This one would work for my slippers, and N is what I actually use on my slippers all the time. Let's see if I can get this out. This is a bad thing to do. This is one of the things I'm going to talk about. Yeah, this is an N, and then they have it in the bamboo. So I'm going to try using that. And this is a boy hook also. Some of my boy hooks don't have a good point, but I noticed these bamboo ones have a very nice point. And then I also tried another one. Now this one is where is it? It is a crafter square. Now these are sold at the Dollar Tree because they have, Premier has a line of yarn that is sold just to the Dollar Tree. Some of it's called crafter square, and some of it is called just yarn. So this is a crafter square 5.5 millimeter, and I did use this one on a project also. I'm still using it on this hat that I'm making. But again, I was having no trouble with this hook either, and I did like the flat space here it has for your thumb. A couple times it was slipping, but not as bad as I thought it would. So where did I leave my gauge? Let me grab my gauge real quick. Let's see, so the 5.5, I think it would be similar to this is saying it's a between J and K on here. This one, it fits through the K, I think, because the tip is fat. So like a K hook, because it didn't say on the package or on the hook, but it says it's a 5.5. But if I go with my gauge, it fits into the K slot. I don't know how, probably have the gauges, but you all need one if you don't have one. But I would use this again for projects, but if I want to work fast, I'll go with my boy hooks probably. But if I'm just leisurely watching TV, doing a project, yes, I would use these hooks again. So I'm willing to try new things, and so for $1.29, that's a good hook, you know, if that's all you can afford. But my boy hooks I've had for a long time. I got a lot out of a yard sale that was full of yarn and books and projects that were started, and they had the hooks all stuffed in them, and there was 2 cases of hooks in it also, and I think that's where my hero hooks came from also. But I would definitely, especially the Lion brand ones, I would use for the projects. I really liked the point on it. So for a tough project, I would be willing to use that, especially with the chunky yarn. Sometimes you have a hard time getting through those, but I would definitely use it again. So if I had to go on a scale between 1 and 5, I would give them both. Well, I would give the Lion brand one probably a 4, and maybe the Crafters 1, 3.5. So I did have some slippage, and it was slipping out of my hand at times. But yes, I would use them again. Okay, so last week I showed that I was starting some baby projects. I think I showed you this one because this is the one, this is how the project was showed to do, where you actually put, you start the bear's face first and then you add on to the square. But I didn't like how that was turning out. So I decided I wanted to do it differently, where I actually make the squares and then attach the bear separately. So that's what I've decided to do. I just have this hold it in place. It's not sewn on, but that's how I'm doing them. And every square doesn't have the bear face. They're like every other. So you'd have, yeah, only half of them are going to have a bear face. And this one's not done. I have to add other things to it. But so that's coming along. I have about half the squares made that I want to make. And I am using Lion Brand Pound of Love. I have that in, this one's just, I think it's just called blue, pastel blue. And I have it in the beige and I have it in white that I'm using for the project, which I have plenty of yarn for that. And I also am going to be making one of these afghans out of this book. Which one is this one? Number 4, which is the soft and sweet one, it's called, which is, it's hard to see because it's all in white right here. And I'm going to be doing it all in white also. So that'll be another project that I'm going to be working on for the babies. So that's that. And I did start this is also a hat, but we'll get to that. This one, okay, I have to get the hook back in it. This one you may recognize as something. Yes, it's going to be, this is the amigurumi I've been working on, which is, get ready to stuff it, which is it will be a Pooh Bear when it's done. I just have the arms and the ears and the facial things to work on, and then some of the embroidery that has to be done with the face. But that's something that's in progress right now too. Baby items. And I don't know if you notice I'm wearing this scarf. Yeah, it is cold here, but not that cold yet. It went from, we were having record highs in the high 70s, almost 80, and now it's back down to where it should be this time of year. It's in the 40s, low 40s, which is chilly, very chilly. So I was going to make this into another sweater, but then I thought it was too similar to a sweater I already have. So I decided to leave this as a scarf instead of frogging it. And I decided to make a hat to match it, which here's the hat I made. And it's made out of this yarn here, which is a Mandela cake in Mandela Sparkle and the color Nova. And I still have 4 more of these cakes, so I can still make other projects, more hats or some gloves maybe. But I really liked how the hat turned out. I did put a long brim on it so it can be flipped up. And I know the hat looks big, but I have a big head. My head is bigger than my husband's head. And when I make hats for myself, they always look huge, but they do fit me. I don't want to put it on because it's going to mess up my hair, but I will, just to show you it does fit me, and I like it. And I am making a second one right now, And men's colors, of course. And I'm using black and camouflage. Not my colors, but for that one I'm using a Karen Pound of Love in black. And the camouflage is Red Heart Super Saver. But these will be washed before someone wears them. So, but I'm also making a baby size hat, which I just began. So it's a tiny one. This is not a cuff for a sweater. It's for a newborn. But that's not done yet either. But these are the hats I'm working on. So why did I make hats? I forgot to tell you that. So this month, for the month of November, things we're making Thursday is hats. So that's why I made hats, even though I don't wear them that much. But in the winter, when it gets extremely cold, and this person gets extremely cold, I will be wearing a hat, probably. And I will wear something around my neck. If it's not a cowl, I will definitely wear a scarf to keep, because if this gets cold right here on me, then I get cold. So I will be wearing them when it gets really cold like that. And I'm afraid to take this hat back off, so I might leave it on. I'm sorry about my voice today. It's hoarse, but that's the way it's going to be sometimes. So that's what but hats are what it is for things we're making Thursday for the month of November. And then I also am participating in the Creator Spotlight for this month. Okay, here we go. Let me see. Okay, it's not too bad. I don't want to get too hot in here. We do have our furnace on, even though we try to wait till later, but it's been off and on. I might have to put it back on. So for the month of November, I participated in the Creator Spotlight also. And I picked, well, the creator for the month is Bonnie Bay Crochet. Now, I would watch a lot of her tutorials. And I know I told you I'm going to start telling you who caught my eye for a certain week. And actually, before she was picked, she's one that caught my eye because I was watching a bunch of different tutorials of hers. And it didn't matter which one I was watching. She was so easy to follow, and she gave me some tips, especially about making shawls. Sometimes when I make them, I get frustrated with how my tips are, the crown of your shawl and the ends. I usually don't have trouble with the ends, but sometimes the crown. But I really enjoyed how this one turned out. This one is called a triangle cable. Bobble. The bobble shawl. Triangle bobble shawl. And it was just an easy 4-row. I made this basically, I worked on it last weekend for like an hour on Friday and an hour on Saturday. And then about the same this Friday and Saturday. I worked on it, and it was just a 33 rows for the whole thing, and it finished it. And you can see how the bobbles stick out, but it was an easy 4-row repeat, and it was very easy, once you got the hang of it, just to like sit and watch TV and do it. And that's exactly what I did, but I really liked how it turned out. Now I did not put, you're supposed to put tassels on each point, each of the 3 points, and I haven't done that yet, but I think I want to put tassels all the way around it. And for that shawl I used, I can make the shawl bigger because it is kind of small for me. The original said 33 rows, but I have 37 rows right now, but I think I'm going to add a few more so it will fit me better. But she says it's optional. You could wear it as a cowl or a scarf you don't want to wear it as a shawl. But I did use Lion Brand. It's called a bonus bundle because it's huge. Of course, it's a mandala cake in the color Babar, Babar. And this one is 1,181 yards. So I can definitely make it bigger because I just got to the next color change and there's 4 more colors in there that could go on the shawl. So I might keep adding to it for a bit just to see how big it gets. But I did enjoy making that. But I think watching her tutorials gave me some pointers on how my shawls could be better when I make them. Which I did forget to bring my shawl in here, but that's okay. I only added a couple more rows to it. It is a repeat, so I probably won't do a tutorial on it unless a lot of people ask. But it could be done in a 5-row repeat, not including, well, the jasmine stitch itself is 3-row repeat. That's in there, and then the other rows are like 4 rows. So that is what you would repeat for the desert flowered shawl. Jeez, my throat's getting worse, but it's the hot and cold that our weather's been doing. But ooh, okay. So the last thing I have been working on are the slippers, of course. And here's the one I made up in my new yarn. And this is how nice and chunky I like them. Nice and squishy. And I have these 2 back here that I'm using. This one I've decided I'm going to run green with it, just to add another Christmas accent to the color. Because this reminds me of candy canes at Christmas, so that's why I got that for Christmas slippers. So I'm going to be running it with it for Christmas slippers. But I think that is all I've been working on. Which is enough, I think, for because I keep adding things to what I've already been doing, which I tried to shorten, but I keep starting things. But that's how we get sometimes when we get new yarn. We're like, oh yeah, let's do this. But I'm trying to calm it down. So the sweater I just finished fits my 6'4" grandson perfectly. So I was going to talk about the mistakes because, we do make mistakes when we're crocheting. So the gray sweater is the second one that I made with the gray colors. The first one I made in the granny stitch, of course. This one's close by. This is the granny. This one is the granny stitch right here. A granny hexie. You start with a granny hexagon. Okay? And the one I made my grandson who's 13, I used the granny stitch in grays. And I liked that so well, I decided, I'm going to make it for myself. We would wear the same size. So, but I decided I didn't want to use the granny stitch, but I wanted to use the solid granny. So I did that. The mistake I made was I made it the same size, same amount of rows, but just using the double stitch, I didn't change any of the rows, any of the pattern, but using the different stitch made the sweater a lot bigger and a lot stretchier. So that's why when you see me wearing it in the picture, it's very oversized on me and very much bigger. And even though I follow the same rows, same stitching, I mean, if you count the rows are the same, but just switching the stitch made the sweater so much bigger. And it added extra inches onto the sweater. So that is a mistake I did not figure into, thinking well, it should be the same size, but it wasn't. So sometimes we don't, I myself didn't think about that. I was thinking it should turn out the same, but no, not thinking, it's still a granny square, but it's not, well, a granny hexagon, but because of the different stitch I used, it made it a lot stretchier, a lot bigger than I intended. So I'm thinking I'm not going to be able to wear that now. But my oldest grandson is getting this sweater now. I tried it on him, fits him great. So I'm going to put the zipper in and give it to him. So I'm going to take a picture of them both wearing theirs, and you'll be able to see how those fit them. But I will admit that I make mistakes when I crochet, and most of the time it's not when I'm finished with a project. When I was working on this shawl, I noticed that I had skipped a bobble, and I was a couple rows in, but I did go back and rip them out and went back and put the bobble where it was supposed to go. I could have left it because not many people would notice, but I would notice. So I went back and ripped it out and fixed it because that shawl worked out so fast. I would encourage anybody who wants to give a try at making a first shawl. I would try this one from Bonnie Bay Crochet. It's called the Bobble. It's just called the Bobble shawl. But she has some good easy ones, and she's a very good instructor. She tells you why you're doing something, and she's very easy to follow, and there's a lot of things on her channel. I almost tried her Irish cabled one. I think that's the one Erin from Crafting Kitty. She's doing that one right now. But I didn't have the right color yarns, and I wanted to use something I already had. I could have done it in those colors, but if I do that, I want a different color. But that's what I've been working on this week, and I feel like there's something else I've been working on. Well, I made a couple more gnomes, but they're not ready for, I want to get my sparkle yarns before I finish them, because I want sparkles on them. But when those are finished, I will show those to you with the sparkle yarn. And I just had an idea for another one, but you'll see them when it's done. There goes my brain again. Slow down, right? Too many projects. Okay, but I thank you for joining me today, and that is what I've been working on, besides slippers and hats mostly this week, and baby items. But those are ones that I need to get finished. And since for November, I finished, I don't know how many hats I'll end up making for November, but I finished the one for things we're making Thursday, which this is my own design, this hat, and it fits me, and I actually like it, what gives. But I was watching a bunch of hat tutorials also, and most of the time I would start making hats from the crown and down, and I think that's where my mistakes were, and that's more mistakes I would make with hats, because everyone's head is not the same size. So I finally realized it's better for me if I make them from the brim up, which if you're knitting hats, most of the knitting hats do that anyway. But so And other people wanted this hat after they saw it, so that's a good thing, because most of the time when they see my hats, they don't want them, you know. So, and I don't want them either, because, well, I have a few that people wanted, and they kept them, like this one up here, which is one of Crystal's. That's one of Crystal's designs, and I also made her Jasmine stitch hat. I like that one. And I have a bunch of headbands, a cabled headband. I think I'm going to try a cabled hat now. I'm willing to give it a try. And that's what I always tell you guys, try something new. And if at first you don't succeed, try it again. And if you get it a couple times, then throw it in your UFO box for a while, which I've done. And then I get it out, and then I'm thinking, why did I think this was so hard? Sometimes you just need to step back from something and then pick it up again, and it'll work out. But I thank you for joining me today, and just think about something you can be thankful for today. I'm thankful for, even though it's cold outside, I have somewhere warm to be. I have a wonderful family, wonderful husband, wonderful friends. You know, I'm thankful for that. And I just thank you for joining me. And if you liked what you see, you can give me a thumbs up. And if you haven't subscribed and you're still watching me, maybe you should subscribe. It'll help me out a little bit. But I'll see you on my next video. And I'm coming out with one on Thursday. And we'll see what I've got myself into by then. Thank you.